Alright everybody, so first off we're going to start making this Zippo pouch by doing a cow hitch here. Very simple move to do. Just push it over, pull it through, make sure you went in through the top of the clamp, not up through the bottom, so that way you get the detail of the hitch there. And then you're going to take your second strand, you're going to feed it through that hitch, and that's going to be your outer loops, and the orange is going to be your arrows that are pointing downward. And now that we have that done, we're going to move on to the actual tie. This will be the same thing throughout the whole entire thing. You just keep doing the same thing. So I only show it once here. You loop the two back behind the orange like that. And then you take the right orange and you will loop it around from the bottom up, and then you will put it on the inside every time. That's what separates the knot when you tighten it to give it the pointing arrow look, is the looping it through the middle like I'm doing there. Now, one thing to be aware of is you gotta niche this pretty good. You just gotta keep working the knots until they all line up, and just pull little pieces at a time, or they won't tie right. It's a little tricky, but you get the hang of it, and just make sure you're doing everything nice and snug, and you're checking to make sure it's always looking the same pattern and they're overlapping properly. So once it's all done here, you see it's looking really nice. It needs to be about 8 inches of fabric to fit around a Zippo. And then when you come to this, you're going to go over the top, come around inside, and you'll see I just pulled them through here, and then you're going to have these loops. You just got to fix that and then turn it over. And you're going to see how I do this here. You just bring the right strand into the middle, pull it through, and then pull it through the loop you also created. And that's what's going to do all the tightening for this. And then after we get this one here done, we just do the other side up. And then once you got the other side all done up and you think you got them even where you want it, you can do some niching and fine adjustments and tightening. You got to do that kind of stuff with all paracord things you're building. So if you haven't done it before, get used to it. You're going to be doing it. And then once you get it all tightened up here, we move on to the next. We move on to the next. We're just trimming and melting the ends and getting them all ready. And one thing I wanted to mention, I noticed in a lot of paracord making videos, I've never, I don't know why people don't do it like I do it. You always see them, they cut, they grab their Bic lighter, they burn the end, then they have to put their Bic lighter down, grab the scissors they just put down because it's flat metal, and then smush the ends with the flat metal. Well, Zippo is already flat metal all over it. If you just used a Zippo, you could get around all of that and get a lot of extra steps out of your rhythm, because this takes a long time to do. It took me a few hours to get this all done, so I'm surprised that people haven't figured that out, that a Zippo is better for this kind of stuff. But, you live, you learn, I guess. And now for the next part, we're going to be doing the weaving, just with the camo strand you're seeing I'm pulling on here. You're just going to be pulling that through, and make sure you put your Zippo in there and the loop, and just see how it fits and what's going to be even from side to side. You just want to make sure you're doing these lines very even. And then once you pull them through, you'll see that you tie a knot on the end to keep it any more from pulling through, and you'll get to that later. Do not melt it and do it now. You want to leave all these open, so in case you got to make adjustments later. And then by the end, it should look like that. And then you just start the weaving over, under, and follow the same pattern throughout the whole thing. You're going to see that while you're doing this, it's going to look bad, but don't worry. Don't feel like it's going bad, because you still haven't pulled all these weaves together. Like these weaves are funny. You can weave them loosely and leave them like that if you wanted to. I don't think it looks very good. So see how I'm pulling them with my thumbs there? You just got to keep pulling them down right against the wall as much as you can. I think I get like 8 rows in every side or something like that. But you just got to keep working at it, and it will look good. It's not going to look good at first because you got to get at least 3 or 4 in there and then pull them really tight till you start noticing that really nice weave pattern. You're going to see it when I'm done here, and once I finally get the last one through. It's this is very time consuming, this part too, because it's hard to weave that little thing and it takes time, and I actually had to make a few adjustments after also. But once you get it through, you'll see what I mean here. I have a lot of camo string. I use one strand for both sides. I don't cut it. The less melts you got to put on this, the better, the stronger it'll be. But you see, I'm just pulling it tight, pulling it all the way down. You just got to keep doing it. Every line you make before you start the next one, you just got to pull that right tight against the wall and then keep going. And you'll see it actually, it turns out really nice. And here we are. You get to see that it's a very nice weave and goes all the way around. And I'm actually going to loop that piece down there and through that black loop, and I'm going to hide it under the orange loops and bring it back to the other side so I can start my next weave. Trying to hide the cord as much as possible and as less melts as possible is good. So now the other side's going to be the same thing. It's going to look like that, except now it's going to end up at the top right corner. And then I'm just going to bring it around and flip it around. And make sure you're checking your Zippo constantly to make sure it's fitting in there. You don't want to over tighten this thing and your Zippo doesn't fit, because you're going to be untying for a very long time. So now I just start my weave pattern off again, and then by the time I'm done, you see it looks very, very nice. And now I've been wearing my ones with belt loops, and this one I'm putting a clip on because I don't wear belts. So making these with belt loops isn't good for me. I need a clip that can go on it, my joggers or my shorts and anything like that. And another thing I don't see people do is you always get the white tip from when you cut the thing. I always cover them up with a little bit of black permanent marker. It hides it really well. I also use super glue. I didn't get to use it in the video, but all my knots and everything has a little super glue in it too to keep them from going down. Now this is a clip off of some cheap knife that I got at the dollar store, and I drilled 4 holes in it, and then I put the strings in. I just thought the orange would really complement the camo. You could go with any color you really want there. And then when I put them through, I just put them through the weave, back in and then back up through the next one. It's very strong doing it that way because the weave is very tight. And what I did was I actually just made knots. I just made a knot and crimped it and melted it and super glued it and hit a little with a little marker. And you could see when I pull in there, that's not ever coming through. That's not going anywhere. And that knot ain't coming done. And the finished product is really nice. I really like this pouch. I have to say I am absolutely loving this pouch. I've been carrying it for a while. Definitely enjoy the clip better than the belt loops because I don't wear a belt. But for you, anyone who wants to do these, go ahead, ask me any questions you need. Uh, if you're a belt guy, put the belt loops. If you're a clip guy like me, put the clip. Very easy to do, fun little projects. I made quite a few of these, and I'm really impressed with them. So all in all, I have to say this is a really fun project. I'm just showing some other ones that I already made with the belt loops. I make them out of one piece from the same part of the camo, and they wrap around the front. Very strong. Then they go back into the weave, and then I tie a knot and melt it and super glue it so it doesn't come undone. And you can pull on those as hard as you want, and they're not coming out of there. It's really good. It's really good design doing that. I really like the paracord belt loops. I had my doubts at how strong they would be. They're very nice. And this one right here is one of my favorite ones. This is the one I made, and I just tried to do a little something different with it. And it turned out really good. This one I've been carrying for a week. Definitely a fun project. But the one with the clip now is going to be my everyday, all the time user because, like I said, I don't wear a belt. But if you're going to make these, let me know in the comments. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one, guys.